My name is Ben, and I live in Australia. In the southeast of Australia lies the state of Victoria, and in that state lies the high country, an extremely vast and remote expanse of alpine mountains and valleys that's largely only accessible by four-wheel drive and can take days to get in and out. The place is popular with four-wheel drivers, deer hunters, and hikers. We four-wheel drive, and this was the destination chosen to go camping for a few days with my partner, Jess and I, some time away from the world beyond the reach of mobile phones. The four-wheel drive was loaded up, lists double-checked, vehicle maintenance done, fuel loaded onto the roof racks, the police station closest to our destination notified of our trip. It's common for people to notify them as a safety measure, especially when not traveling in a convoy. Again, very remote. And off we went. We were headed to a place called the Wanangata Valley, a remote valley deep in the high country. A huge amphitheater-type valley with alpine mountains rising high in every direction and a river running along the valley floor. Towards the end of the first full day of driving, we finally made our way down the last track for the day, skirting the ridge and arriving at the valley floor as the sun dipped below the mountains. We found a secluded spot to pitch our tent, nestled in amongst the eucalypt trees by the riverbank. It was midweek and off-season, so we were the only ones in the valley that we knew of. After setting up camp and having a meal by the fire as the sun went down, we snuggled together in our sleeping bags, and in short order, we decided to hit the hay. At some point in the night, I woke to a loud noise. I wasn't quite sure what I heard, so from inside our tent, I listened, but nothing. I must be going mad. No sooner had I thought it, I heard another noise. It sounded like something falling off of our camp table and hitting the ground. I put it down to possums or wombats frolicking about, common in the area and nothing to worry about. Should have packed up after dinner, I thought, and went back to sleep. Sunrise came and we slowly woke up. Needing to pee, I opened the tent and jumped out. Looking around, something just came over me, a chill. It was not the way we left it. Instead of seeing two chairs together by the fire where we were sitting, one of them was by the table, and on the table was a loaf of bread that I swear I packed away again the night before. I walked over to the table to inspect. A half-eaten piece of bread was sitting there, with a very obvious chomp mark taken out of it. I flung the tent open and asked, "Were you up before me? Did you have some bread?" "No," was the answer to both. Jess got up, and together, we went through all of our stuff. Nothing was missing. As we went to check the four-wheel drive, I noticed the footprints. There was a bunch of them around the front of the car where the hood was. Most of the camp was covered in grass. This was one of only a few spots that was just dirt. Had someone tried to open it? Very distinct footprints, not mine or my partner's. Perhaps they'd already been there. These camping spots are used intermittently, and obviously, we were not looking at the ground when we arrived the night before, with the sun setting. I don't think either of us wanted to actually admit what we were both thinking, that someone had been creeping about our campsite in the night, far from civilization. We discussed if a possum could have made the bite marks, argued about if one of us had left the bread out, and eventually discussed moving on and camping somewhere else. After much deliberation, we decided to stay. I had the rifle in the four-wheel drive, which I guess gave me an overinflated sense of safety, which in hindsight was a very poor choice. As the day rolled on, the sun shining, and with nothing eventful happening, I decided to walk across the valley floor, an open field of subalpine grassland, about 800 meters, to an old ruin of an isolated homestead built by settlers who ran cattle in the valley some 100 years ago. It's steeped in mystery. There is an old, unsolved multiple murder from 1917 that always captivates people. I read the plaque, took some photos, and started wandering back to camp. As I neared the halfway mark back to camp, I noticed Jess walking across the field towards me. Must have gotten bored, I thought. As she approached, it was clear that she was in a panic. Immediately, she started to tell me how she went down to the riverbank to wash the pots and pans, and as she looked up, she saw someone on the other side of the river, watching her from deep in the bush forest. I had no reason whatsoever not to believe her. I asked what he looked like and got told. An old man, 70s or thereabouts, scraggly looking, and in old tattered clothes. Apparently, the second she looked up, he turned and walked away, disappearing into the impenetrable bush. I could not comprehend it. How was anyone out here without a four-wheel drive or a dirt bike, and how would anyone get to that side of the bank without first crossing from our side? There is days worth of damn near impossible to walk through a bush on the other side, just to get to where my partner saw him. We decided to jump in the four-wheel drive and drive along the length of the valley, checking the dozen or so riverside camping spots as we went. I wanted to spot a camp, have my partner ID the guy, and make sure he wasn't creeping, with our theory being that he may have been a hunter, off in the bush after a deer. After making our way up and down the valley and not seeing anything, we drove back to camp, at a loss to explain anything. As the sun started to set, and with my partner and I quite shaken, I grabbed the rifle and set it next to us as we cooked dinner and chatted, having a few drinks to settle the nerves. Had we been spooked? Was it just that there's a lot of mystery surrounding the valley and the Homestead murders? We talked a bit and settled into a good foot warming in front of the fire. At some point, Jess needed to go to the toilet. I was asked to come with her to the spot behind a tree where we placed the portable toilet, about 50 meters away from camp. Considering everything that had gone on, it was a no-brainer. Jess did her business, and we turned around and came around the side of the tree, and that is when we saw him. Standing at our camp, about a meter from the rifle that I had sitting against the table, was a man. Old, check. Scraggly looking, check. Tattered old clothes, check. Jess squeezed my arm so hard I thought it was going to come off. Everything about her body language screamed, this is the same man. As we got closer, I could make out more odd things about him. He had part of a deer antler in his hand that looked like he had been whittling away at it, and what looked like antler pieces carved to plug large holes in his ears, like stretchers but made of bone. Same goes for the bone-looking buttons on his ratty old coat. He wore old leather shoes that looked homemade. "G'day, mate," he said. "Fuck me, mate. You gave us a fucking heart attack," I said, officially shitting bricks. "Where have you come from, mate? Everything alright?" "Just over yonder. You lot aren't hunting around here, are you?" Looking directly at my rifle. "We might, yeah. Why?" "There's no hunting around here. Not enough deer as it is." "Well, we hadn't decided on it. Probably packing up anyway," I said, as I edged my way toward the rifle. "I should put this away anyway. Didn't mean to spook you, mate," I said, looking for an excuse to get that rifle into my hands. "It's all good. Guns don't spook me," he said. I didn't imagine they would. I picked the rifle up by the barrel and held onto it like a walking stick in an attempt to be non-confrontational, breathing a sigh of relief. "No offense, but you caught us a bit by surprise. You gotta be the only one we've seen since we got here." "Yeah, I saw you come in here last night." "Yeah, I fucking bet you did." "I've been coming up here for 40 years. Beautiful spot, isn't it? Takes a bit to get down into the valley, hey?" "Yeah, mate, look, no offense, but we were gonna hit the sack soon. Do you need a lift back to your camp?" "No, all good. Just out for a wander before I tuck in for the night. Saw the fire and thought I'd say g'day. Anyway, I'd better be on my way." And with that, he turned and walked off, parallel to the river, into the dark, with no torch. That was officially enough to spook us beyond any ability to calm down, and we decided to pack up in the dark and head out, even if driving in the dark was a monumentally stupid idea in this part of the high country. We got into the four-wheel drive and drove out. Taking us along the valley floor, we did not see a single fire, a camp, a vehicle, nothing. We kept on driving. Halfway home, Jess, bored from the drive, flipped on the camera. No memory card. What the fuck? After getting home and telling a few people what happened, a friend's dad, an avid bushman himself, was the one to officially freak us the hell out. "Oh, you met the button man." "The what now?" I said. "The button man. He is an old bushman who goes out into the high country for months at a time, hunts with a spear, appears out of nowhere, scares people, has buttons made out of bone. There's a heap of people gone missing up that way. The cops keep looking, but they can't find a single trace. Campers, hikers. One camp was found burnt to the ground and a car left abandoned. They can't find any evidence at all." A quick Google confirmed it. The missing people, the button man, the lack of evidence. Police set out into the bush and found his camp, spoke with the man, but have nothing else to go on. The following link has some further info on the missing people and the mysterious button man. He is very real. Dozens of people have met him, as he appears out of nowhere at their camp. But as for his connection to any of the missing people, only he knows. We don't camp in that valley anymore. Hell, we don't camp that side of the high country anymore. Anyway, that is our story of how we met the button man. Russell Hill, 74, and Carol Clay, 73, disappeared on March 20th, 2020, from their campsite on Dry River Track, Woonongatta. In November 2021, remains were found in bushland in Grant's historic area, about 9 miles northwest of Dargo. The dense bushland is about 31 miles from the campsite in the Woonongatta Valley, where Russell Hill and Carol Clay were last seen in 2020. In February 2022, forensic testing confirmed that the remains found were Russell Hill and Carol Clay. Although the authorities questioned the button man, he was dismissed as a suspect. Then, 56-year-old Greg Lynn, a former airline pilot, was arrested and charged with murdering Russell and Carol in November 2021. He is awaiting trial in 2024. On October 24th, 2019, Niels Becker, 39, an experienced bushwalker, went missing on a solo 5-day hike in Victoria's Alpine National Park, which he had prepared for months. Police said Mr. Becker was well equipped for the hike and familiar with the area. He left the Upper Jameson hut on October 24th. He sent a message to his family from Vallejo Gantner hut 2 days later that he was heading to his car at Mount Sterling, roughly 6 or 7 hours away, depending on the route. The last confirmed sighting was by the button man, who told the police he saw him in his area. The track took him past the button man's camp. This is not surprising, as his camp is at a spot known as the Crossroads, where bushwalkers in the know head, because it is one of the few places with good radio reception. Police used over 70 people to search for Niels, but with no luck. Senior Sergeant Keegan said police had a few theories about what had happened to Becker. There were some very cold nights. Hypothermia may have kicked in, but he may very well have walked out of that search area, or perhaps foul play, or something more mysterious was involved. No one knows why Conrad Whitlock, 72, drove into the high country in July 2019, nor why he left his white BMW in darkness on the side of the Mount Beulah Road, along with his jacket, mobile phone, and keys. Conrad, from Sandhurst, south of Melbourne, was last seen by his wife as they climbed into bed at about 11:30 p.m. before she awoke at 5:30 a.m. to find him gone. He failed to arrive for work the next day, raising concerns about his whereabouts. Victorian Police Inspector David Brown said officers found the car in working condition and had Whitlock's jacket, mobile phone, and keys inside. Inspector Brown said, "At the moment, there is nothing to indicate a reason for the vehicle to have stopped. The vehicle had the keys in it, it started, and it had fuel. So as to why Mr. Whitlock has gone away from the vehicle at this stage, we simply do not know. If he had a medical episode, he had been suffering from unexplained headaches, surely he would have finished only a few meters away from the road. Or if it was a bizarre suicide, then a note for his family would seem likely. Only theory is, he left his warm car for a toilet stop, and decided he did not need a jacket for such a quick break." David Prideaux, 50, former Barwon prisoner governor, was a passionate bush hunter, and on June 5, 2011, he went deer hunting with his brother-in-law in Victoria's Alpine National Park. He has not been seen since. Despite several searches of the area months after his disappearance, there was no trace of Prideaux or any of his belongings. There were many theories, including that he was killed over the murder of a drug dealer, Carl Williams, who had been ambushed and murdered inside Barwon more than a year before David disappeared. Still, a hitman was unlikely to creep up on an experienced hunter. Media reports also raised the possibility Prideaux had sensitive police files, including allegations of police corruption when he went missing. The coroner also ruled out suggestions David faked his death after several reported sightings over the years, including in the Western Australian town of Broome. The inquest into his death heard investigators had meticulously combed over Prideaux's bank accounts, but they had not been touched since he vanished. Similar searches of his mobile phone records and Centrelink, Medicare, Australia Post, and betting agencies had also failed to trace a link. The coroner found it likely that Prideaux had died from a serious accident in the national park or a medical cause, and there was nothing to suggest he met with foul play. The coroner was satisfied he is dead, but the cause is unknown. Warren Mayer, 57, disappeared from Dom Dom Saddle, Fernshaw, on March 23, 2008. For Meyer, an experienced bushwalker, the 4-hour Easter Sunday hike was easy. The weather was fine, and he was equipped with a phone, GPS, and food and water, yet he was never heard from again. Warren had set off at 7:45 a.m. and arranged to meet his wife and some friends for lunch. He failed to show, and his car was found parked and locked in the Dom Dom Saddle car park later that afternoon. Meyer ran a successful civil engineering consultancy business in Elwood and had been planning for retirement. There were reports of semi-automatic gunfire heard in the area on the morning that Warren went missing, and that a large marijuana crop was found during the search for him. An escaped involuntary psychiatric patient with homicidal thoughts was found roaming near the track where Meyer had been walking. Despite being investigated by local police, the missing persons unit, and the homicide squad, no trace of him has ever been found. Despite the attention the disappearance garnered, the case went cold. In December 2017, Coroner John All concluded that Mr. Meyer had died of unknown causes and that no further investigation was required. Hey, hope you've enjoyed the story so far. If you want to hear more, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and leave a comment because it lets YouTube know you like the content and helps more people to see these videos. My next big goal for the channel is 100,000 subscribers, and as a celebration, I will be doing a Q&A video once we hit that goal. Thank you, and back to the stories. Mine isn't too crazy, but it is pretty weird. I've told it a couple times a while back. Be me. I need to stay in shape, so I always go jogging with some friends. That evening, we are going to try a new route along a riverbank in South Carolina. We start out the jog during the evening. A beautiful sunset bleeds across the sky, perfect scenic shit. I have two other friends. One is faster and one is slower, and within about 15 minutes, we're about a half a mile apart with me in the middle. Twilight hits, and the sky goes purple and finally black. I am alone amongst the twinkling diamond sky and reeds swaying in the breeze, just jogging. As I continue, I see a light in the distance that is constantly flickering. I get closer, and the light gets bigger. I conclude that it must be some kind of bonfire or something, and the flickering of the light must be things getting in and out of the way of my side of the fire. As I get even closer though, the light dims out and I cannot see it anymore. Okay, must be campers, right? I get to about where the fire was, and I can immediately smell something that I can only explain as like burning coins or metal, if that makes any sense. Curious now, I see in the light of the full moon where the smoke is coming from. I take out my flashlight and creep underneath some underbrush by the river leading to the smoking location. The closer I get, the stranger the feeling I start to have. The smell of coins gets intense after a while, but I trudge onward. Must be people burning trash. Why I kept going from this point, I will never know. I finally enter a clearing. Something is really, really not right. The first thing I see are bare footprints in the fresh mud on the ground. Then I see that there are flower petals scattered everywhere. Then, finally, I see a cow skull with flowers all around it in the clearing. I look at the smoldering embers and I shine my flashlight on it, and it is fucking bones. Not anything else. There is no meat, no wood, no trash, just a pile of smoldering bones. There are flies everywhere. This is the point where I back the fuck out. Okay, let's go. I start to crawl back underneath the tree branches. I start to hear voices behind me. I am not sure what they were saying, but they were human, I'm sure. Nope. As quietly as I can, I get back to the river, back to the trail, and fucking bolt the rest of the way. The starry sky is flashing overhead of me. I am not sure if it's my imagination, but I keep hearing rustling in the thick trees and underbrush beside the trail. My face went. I passed my much faster friend. I am still not sure what the fuck all of that was about. Probably just people being really weird. Sure as shit was not sticking around to get the full story though. Still really wonder to this day what they were really up to. I mean, really, who burns bones like that? Is that a normal thing for some people? I'm posting this story because it's late, and I like your fresh pepe. Be me. I am with my best friend, named Ri. We live in Washington, and there are a ton of abandoned mines up in the mountains. We hit a mine called the Great Republic Mine. It isn't too far away from where we live. Resources say that there is 2 separate caves, but they are pretty close to each other. We decide to drive out. We probably should have left much earlier, because by the time we got to the road, it was already really dark. There are weird-ass trailer parks in the woods. It does not seem very welcoming at all. We find the river that we are supposed to climb up to find the mouth of the cave. We head out with our flashlights in the dark and climb up. The river is all dried up, but as we climb, we meet up with the water, and there is a lot. The water seems to be going underground, because in the span of like 10 feet, it just disappears. We eventually find the mouth of the cave. It is supremely dark now, hard to see even for gentlemen like us. We enter, walking through slowly. We quickly notice a stench of sulfur, expected from a cave like this. There is rotting wood everywhere. There were huge logs laying around, which somehow managed to get deep in the cave. The cave goes from walking upright, to crouching, to crawling, and finally, worming our way deeper into the darkness. Ri, being the guy that he is, does not want to turn around, although I doubt we could, even if we tried. Eventually, the cave opens back up again, and it seems to be all good. We actually somehow ended up at the other cave. We climbed all the way underground to the other one. Ri, being the guy that he is, decides we head back to the same direction. Seems fine, so we do it. As we head back down, we notice there is another trench that we did not notice on the way there. It is supremely small to fit through and horribly claustrophobic. We squeeze in and start climbing down the undiscovered area. Note, this has not been mapped online. The only information is 2 separate caves which end up connecting. We climb through the tight area for a while until it splits into other numerous caves. There is a lot more water than before and more rotting logs, which I still don't understand how they ended up there. Things are getting pretty spooky. We keep thinking we hear a croak. Sounds like a frog croak, but it's very faint. We split up just for the hell of it. Makes things more exciting. I leave a rock at the entrance to mark which way we came from, just for the extra precaution. I walk into my side for about 20 minutes. It just ends, so I turn back around. I was not sure which one he went in. There were 4 directions, so I decide to just wait until he comes back. I sit there waiting for about 30 minutes, get bored and yell his name, hoping to hear something. Another 30 minutes pass, no response. I decide to go into the cave I think he most likely went into. This one is much longer now, and is getting really tight. I doubt Ri could have climbed through it, and I was low on energy, so I said screw it. I then might have wondered if he left without letting me know, possibly thinking I did the same or something. I am just getting tired of this whole thing, so I decide to leave and follow the rock I placed earlier. The exit seems to be taking a lot longer than I recalled. I just keep walking, hoping to get the hell out of there, until I realized I went the complete wrong way. Somehow, the rock was moved or I mistook it. Things are getting exhausting. I turn around feeling completely lost, very clearly mark the tunnel, and go into the one to my right. Walk down this one for a while, really not sure if it is the exit. I keep second guessing myself, wondering if I shouldn't have turned around so soon on the previous one. I just feel overwhelming anxiety as I walk through cramped tunnels over and over. The longer I am there, the less sense my mind was making. I have no idea where Ri is, and I am feeling helpless. Continue walking mindlessly through cramped tunnels for what felt like forever. After about 3 hours of panic and anxiety, I meet back at the center and Ree is waiting for me. Apparently, he left hours ago and thought I went back to the car, so he hiked down, got really worried, and went back in. Exhausted, we started hiking back where he came from and get out of there once and for all. Sorry nothing extremely spooky happened, but I was really freaked out while I was wandering in there. It's true too, just by the way. Be me. I seriously need a job. My family friend suggests I take up some janitorial work. I think, sure, why not? I don't know why I never thought of that before myself. I show up at my old elementary school late at night, around 9 or 10. People in the building include myself, 2 other guys about my age, and the head janitor chick. Head janitor assigns me to cleaning the stairwells. Okay. I start from the lower level of the building and decide that I will work my way up. Nostalgia trip as I go through the building cleaning and whatnot. I am almost done. The doors leading to the last floor are very heavy and they're usually propped open during school hours. The head janitor tells me I gotta lock up the upper floor before I am finished. She throws me the keys. I open up the double doors to the first of 2 stairwells leading to the upper floor. The door slams behind me. It is dark for a second. They have motion sensing lights throughout the building to save on electricity. The lights flicker on. I turn around and lock the door. I start cleaning the stairs and all of the railings. There is 3 flights of stairs, so this might take a while. I finally finish that stairwell. It is almost 12 now, and I can hear the other 2 guys leaving. Shit, I better hurry up and finish up the other one. I get to another set of heavy double doors at the top of the stairs. I open them up. I walk into a long dark hallway. I am looking down at my belt because I need the keys to lock the double door. I find them, let go of the door slams, and I lock it. I put the key back. Then I look up. I am looking down the pitch black hallway. Spooky. Why the fuck aren't the lights on? My eyes adjust, and I see one of the heavy double doors open at the other end of the hallway. The lights in that stairwell are not on. I see the outline of a dark lanky figure slowly moving into the hallway. There is a window behind it. The thing is silhouetted, and its head is huge. Looks like a tall grey alien type thing. It quickly shoots its head in my direction. Its eyes are glowing a yellowish white. It walks into the chemistry lab. This whole time this is going on, I am panicking and fumbling for the keys to open the double doors that I just locked. I finally find the keys. As I go to unlock the door with the keys I just found, a sort of debilitating zap goes through my brain. I get really lightheaded and I begin to fall to the floor. I prop myself up against the wall behind me. I look to the end of the hallway, and the thing is out of the Chem Lab, staring at me again. All I can make out is its general body shape, and the fucking huge, white/yellow eyes. I start to black out/pass out. My vision becomes really blurry, and I see it move back into the lab. Right as it steps into the room, the motion-sensing lights flicker on. I lay there against the wall for a good minute until my vision comes back to normal. I get my cleaning stuff and slowly head down the hallway. I am closing and locking all of the classrooms as I go. I get to the other end of the hall where that thing was standing. I look into the chemistry lab. The lights are all flickering. Nope. I open up the double doors. I lock that shit. I nope my way all the way down the stairs. I run into the head janitor on the way. She asks me where I've been and why I look so pale. I am way too panicked to properly explain everything that happened. I tell her that everything is locked up and good to go. I nope my way all the way home. I leave, and I never come back to that job. I quit on the spot. And I used to love going to that school.